Hello and welcome to another episode of Erongo Talk. I'm your host, Erongo van der Walt, and I'm joining you from Truth Café today with the ever wonderful
Tiro Carisep. And in today's episode, we're going to be bringing you some news, entertainment, and weather and tides.
And in today's interview segment, we will be chatting with young filmmaker Ben van der Walt. He will be telling us about his full-length Afrikaans feature film, Woestynpsalm, which centers around themes of faith, persistence, perseverance, and gender norms. And then our winner for last week's competition is the lovely Miss Tanya Reinhardt. So Tanya, if you're watching, please do claim your prize from our Swakopmund officers. And stay with us, we'll be right back after this. And now it is time for your news. The Walvis Bay Municipal Council approved the transfer of funds from existing 2020-2021 Land Development Project Farm 37 to a new vote for the extension of municipal boundaries. This is about 350 Avon. According to Leroy Victor, the chairperson of the Walvis Bay Management Committee, the town's municipal boundaries need to be extended to accommodate envisaged population growth, as well as the demand for land for housing, commercial and industrial developments. The proposed expansion is mainly within the proclaimed boundaries of the Dorp National Park, namely towards the east of Narraville, east of Langstrand and Dolphin Beach, and southeast of Walvis Bay town. He said that consultative meetings regarding the extension of municipal boundaries, as well as the deep proclamation of a portion of the Dorp National Park, took place on the 11th of May 2018, the 19th of August 2018, and the 19th of March 2020, between the Ministries of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, and Rural and Urban Development and the Municipality of Walvis Bay. Both ministries now need to consult to finalize matters pertaining to the municipality's application for the partial deproclamation of the Dorp National Park and subsequent extension of municipal boundaries. In the meantime, the areas need to be surveyed to the deproclaimed to show the true extent of the proposed boundaries to be incorporated into the municipal area. However, Victor said that there is money in the 2020-2021 budget for the survey of the proposed extension of these boundaries. Hence, the need to transfer funds from the existing 2020-2021 land development budget to a new vote for the extension of the municipal boundaries. In our second story for today, the Rotary Club of Swakopmund celebrated veterinarian Dr. Hartmut Winterbach for the hard work he has done for the community during a recent social event at the coastal town. Dr. Hartmut Winterbach, who operates from the Swakopmund Vet Clinic, was honored for all the hard work he does for stray animals. According to the Rotary Club Swakopmund President Philip Woestynpsalm, honoring Rotarians who have excelled in the community will be done more regularly in future. We decided a couple of years ago to once in a while recognize individuals who go to the extra mile for what they do in the community. He said, adding that Dr. Winterbach's hard work in dealing with the escalating population of stray animals was the catapult that led to this recognition. These are animals from the DRC informal settlement, animals that are picked up and dropped off at his practice. He helps by offering medical assistance to these animals. He also assists the Swakopmund SPCA, all of which he has been doing for quite a number of years, Woestynpsalm said. The compassionate veterinarian was honored with a certificate as a token of appreciation on behalf of the community for his efforts. Upon receiving the certificate, Winterbach mostly attributed his achievement to a collective effort by all the Rotarians. I think it was a team effort, he said. And on that note, we end today's news. Joining us today on Erongo Talk is 22-year-old filmmaker Ben van der Walt. So Ben is releasing his first feature-length film. It's an Afrikaans film entitled Woestynpsalm. So hi Ben, it is so wonderful to have you with us here, all the way from the capital city of Windhoek.
Hi Irene, and thank you very much for having me today.
So Ben, I am not going to sit here talking. I am going to ask you to tell our viewers what Woestynpsalm is about.
Woestynpsalm, or Desert Psalm, follows a young traveling reverend named Nadia. She travels hundreds of kilometers each weekend through the Namib Desert to reach her two small congregations in the south. And it deals with religion and faith, but I would say the main focus of the narrative falls more on her personal experiences and challenges as a woman in a male-dominated and a historically loaded environment. Family, patriarchy, and church politics form part of the wider plot, but we mostly observe Nadia as she finds herself in the depths of the desert. Woestynpsalm revolves around this woman in the desert and the physical and emotional challenges that is thrown at her from her family, colleagues, and the desert.
So Ben, where did the idea for Woestynpsalm come from?
The idea for Woestynpsalm is loosely based on a true story, or true events at least, and just events I've observed as a fly on the wall of my parents' lives as reverends. The main character is a combination of people I know personally, and firstly, the idea of a somewhat nomadic female reverend, specifically in a more conservative setting, intrigued me a lot. And secondly, also the idea of reverends being more like everyday people, mothers, fathers, friends, is something I've witnessed and I've taken close note of. It's not one of those stories where the reverend turns out to be a horrible person or anything. It's more about a reverend being a human instead of an untouchable religious figure.
Yeah, and Ben, why do you think it's important to tell these kinds of stories?
Why do I think it's an important story to tell? I feel it's important we tell stories that are true to our lives and experiences here in Namibia. Bong Joon-ho, last year at the Oscars, when he received his award for Best Director, he quoted Martin Scorsese and said, "The most personal is the most creative." And Woestynpsalm is a very personal story, and I don't think it belongs anywhere other than here in Namibia. When people outside of Namibia think of films that were shot here, they often think of Mad Max Fury Road and parts of 2001 A Space Odyssey. I feel it's very important that when someone sees Namibia on the big screen, that they think of an authentically Namibian film. This is becoming more of a reality, and I'm excited to see that there are recent films that were made here in Namibia by Namibians. I think they've laid the foundation for upcoming films here in Namibia, and I'm very thankful for that.
So Ben, you mentioned to me that there's more filmmaking knowledge in Namibia than you originally thought. Why do you think the filmmaking knowledge and filmmaking experience and the talent in Namibia is so hidden?
I think the Namibian filmmaking industry is still very young. We're only now starting to find our feet. We have the stories over here and we have the ideas. The challenge is getting these ideas on the big screen. It's turning our narrative knowledge into filmmaking knowledge and then raising the funds to transform this knowledge into a tangible piece.
And Ben, do you think you face any unique challenges as a young filmmaker trying to make their first film and trying to feature their first film in the industry?
It was almost like an epiphany to me when I realized that I'm not too young or too inexperienced to make a feature-length film. I always thought that I would first have to finish my studies and work a few years in the industry. You don't have to. Namibia doesn't have a shortage of ideas or stories, and on the contrary, I think we have an excess. I was pleasantly surprised with Namibians' positive reaction to Woestynpsalm. The biggest challenge for me, and I think other Namibian filmmakers, is to raise the money and get our hands on equipment to make something like this a reality. That's all. Other than that, I don't think anything holds us. But our Indiegogo campaign to raise the money in order to make this production and film a reality is now launched. We are about halfway into our campaign, which means we have about 24 days left in order to raise all the money that is needed to make this production happen. So you can check that out. You can find more info about that on our website, which is www.woestynfilm.com. Our Instagram is at Woestyn_film, and on Facebook you can find us just by searching Woestynpsalm.
So Ben, for the viewers who don't know, you are a filmmaking student in the United States of America. How do you think your time in the USA has changed your perception and thus your representation of Namibia?
I wouldn't necessarily say studying in the USA changed my view or representation of Namibia at all. Before leaving for New York, I lived in Namibia for 20 years. And in that way, Namibia has been ingrained in me. And I don't think 2.5 years in the US would easily change that. But it did give me a newfound appreciation for the motherland. During my times in New York, I think there might have been 1 or 2 instances where people actually knew where Namibia was when they asked where I'm from. I always had to follow up the question with, it's the country to the northwest of South Africa. I was confronted with the reality that Namibia is an ambiguous and sometimes completely foreign entity to many. And this strangely gave me an advantage. It's this ability to bring something new to these audiences, to introduce my friends and fellow students and professors to this hidden gem. I found myself coming back to Namibia in between semesters, and I would post more on my Instagram stories, post more of Namibia and about Namibia, specifically in order to show my new acquaintances what it is like over here. So in that way, I don't think my view or representation will easily change, but the appreciation has increased, and I think in that way going to America and distancing myself for a bit was a very good thing for my appreciation regarding Namibia.
That was the wonderfully talented Ben van der Walt here on Erongo Talk. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ben.
Thank you very much.
Joining me here is Ralph Ertelt and Rousseau Hill. They are both involved with Truth Café. Ralph is the owner, and Rousseau just developed a new menu that will be launched in next week. So, Ralph, can you tell me what makes Truth Café different from other coffee shops?
We really try to cater for the local community. Our dishes are local purchased products from local distributors, locally sourced, yes. And we just want to keep all Swakopmunders and Walvis Bay people happy right here.
So, Rousseau, I believe you developed the new menu for Truth Café. So what makes this menu different from other menus?
It's, I think the biggest thing is, like Ralph said as well, keeping the local ingredients, the local products and everything that's available here in our area and in our waters, bring it to the table. But we've got a few restaurants in town that's trying to do that now these days. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep local produce and support the local market. On the end of the day, we want and they want the support from the local market, so we need to support the local market in order to receive the sort of support in return.
And Rousseau, you are quite an experimental guy. Is there something you would still like to see on the Truth Café menu in future?
Yes, I've got 1 or 2 other things up the sleeve for later in the future, which will not be part of this current menu. We will run it through as specials eventually, once a month maybe or something like that. But yeah, it's going to be something different.
So there's something to come back for consistently. So, Ralph, can you tell me, do you have any plans for the future of Truth Café?
Oh yes, we will evolve permanently. Rousseau will not be lost and forgotten once he walks out here. He will be back quite a few times. And then, yes, like I said, we just want to keep on changing to cater for the local people from Swakopmund, just to keep everybody happy over here.
Okay, wonderful. So that is all you need to know about Truth Cafe's new menu. But if you want to taste it for yourself, you'll have to come check out Truth Cafe on next week, Saturday.
Yo, respect and Hannah. My name is Gary Dredd, best reggae nominee for NAMA 2020. Keep on watching Erongo Talk.
And now it's time to your entertainment stories. A male a cappella group from Swakopmund, known as the African Vocals, has started a charity project in Swakopmund, DRC, as a form of what they say is giving back to the community. After a substantial amount of time and hard work and dedication, the group has decided to give back to the community by contributing with a charity organization. The idea came up to found a children's choir in DRC, where kids will be able to learn singing, dancing, and how to play various music instruments, says Regina Hing, who is the manager of the group. They want to share their great musical talent and experience with the choir children and teach them musical theory, and also teach them how to play basic, easy, accessible musical instruments such as the drums and marimbas. En ons tweede story, Woestynpsalm. 'n Jong filmstudent, Ben van der Walt, het in 2020 sy filmmaatskappy Bosman Film gestig. En 'n jaar later hoop hy die maatskappy word gevestig as 'n volwaardige mededinger in die bedryf met sy eerste projek, Woestynpsalm. Woestynpsalm is 'n vollengte Afrikaanse rolprent wat 'n jong protestante dominee sy deursittingsvermoë volg. Van der Walt sê dat is kardinaal en Namibië se verhale vertel en vertolk. Woestynpsalm is vir my 'n baie persoonlike verhaal en ek dink nie dit kan enige ander plek as Namibië tot haar creatieve reg kom nie. So for these and more of these stories, please log on to our website, that's at www.erongo.com.na.
Hi guys, I'm Zini Pinkas and I'm a makeup artist and I will show you guys how to cover up a pimple. First you can go with a brush, any of your choice, and then you're going to go in with a concealer that is 2 shades lighter than your skin, and you're going to go on the pimple and just try to cover it. Then you can go in with a beauty blender. Doesn't matter what size your beauty blender is, as long as it's a good beauty blender and blends well, there's nothing wrong. Then you're going to go again with a concealer and cover it. Then I will be going with some translucent powder, and if you don't have translucent powder, you can always use baby powder because they work the same. Then you're going to go on top of that and form it just like that. So you can go on the second layer, or how many layers you're comfortable with. Depends on the pimple, of course. Second layer. And you want to blend that out. And then you're going to go again with some water. And that's how you cover up a pimple. Thank you guys so much for watching.
And now it is time for your weather and tides predictions for Swakopmund and all the other major towns in the Erongo region. And that unfortunately brings us to the end of another episode of Erongo Talk, but you don't have to miss us too much, and Tiro is going to tell you why.
Okay, for these and more stories, you can log on to our website. That's at www.erongo.com.na, or you can log on to our social sites. That's at Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. And also interact with us on Telegram and on WhatsApp. That's at 0811 7040.
And if you miss us too much on Monday morning and you need just a little bit of community and fun to hold you over until we join you at 12, you are more than welcome to check out all the other shows hosted under the NMH brand. That is Active Kids for the Little Ones, Windhoek Express does We Talk if you want to know what's happening in the Windhoek community, Kletskompass by Republican, Evening Review by Namibian Sun. The possibilities are endless. So, until we see you again on Monday, enjoy the weekend, stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the song with us.
Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven, let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven, let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven, let it rain. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-dum-dee. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-dum-dee.
Vatiliv, inakulu yoma pongo ina yoma wilanjela nilo que tu acaba que toca kumeshon no cambelela pomaka no cambelela pomaka no cambelela pomaka la nino nena tatata no cambelela pomaka la nino nena tatata.
Yes, enjoy the rains. Nganuting ako neba. Kwenda nyumbao, let's dance in the rain. Twaronda kaya ikaw, butang abo. Upping, 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 upping. Upping, 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 upping.
Yeah, enjoy the race. Kid December boss. Kid December boss.
Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain, let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven, let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven, let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven, let it rain. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-dum-dee. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.